Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Cliff Gross.
Cliff, good to know you.
Good to know you, Chris.
Why don't we start off and, well, tell me a little bit about yourself. Who's Cliff Gross?
Well, Cliff is an architect. I have a musical background. I grew up working for my father in construction. That occurred in the Midwest, where I was raised and went educated.
Yeah, whereabouts?
Well, it was in Kansas.
Yeah,
And
okay.
yeah,
Right
yeah.
in Heartland.
Heartland, yeah.
Great place, great place.
It is. They one of their major exports is people.
Yeah, that's right.
After that, it's wheat.
That's right. The best thing to ever come out of Alabama. That's right. Okay, go ahead.
Sure enough. After that education I got at Kansas State, I relocated myself to the Pacific Northwest.
All right.
And I practiced architecture there over a number of years. And in the latter phases of that, I was a principal architect and a G of GTD Architects in Seattle.
Okay, all right, very good.
Since that time, I've been working as a consultant in architectural project management.
Oh, okay.
And
making use of your expertise.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here in Las Vegas and other cities on the West Coast.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, if I ask you what's kind of set you apart, I mean, what's distinguished you as an architect? What would you say?
Well, I've certainly accumulated a few awards and recognitions. I would say read my resume for that. But
okay.
I think the thing that I'm most unique in my approach to design is to use what I call a Socratic method of reasoning to determine basic functions. And
well, that's a pretty fancy word for Las Vegans. In case any happen to be watching this, so we're referring back to Socrates, I suppose.
I was a fan of his as a student. Did some research, but yeah, it isn't that complex. It really involves thinking on a fundamental mode, like working with a new client, defining what is architecture, what is it supposed to do, and then ask a question, what are the contemporary needs that architecture must meet in order to do its job? And then from that evolve into the nature of the project that this client needs and wants accomplished.
Gotcha.
And for me, I think I couple that rather uniquely with a very deep personal regard for my client's well-being. And together we make these analysis of what we want to do, and then out of that comes a better understanding of the service that's going to be provided and an increased sense of trust. So with that combination of events, I have the opportunity to work realistically with the client and most likely avoid a lawsuit of misunderstanding.
Right, and like Socrates, you're the wise voice of experience.
Well, yeah, however, the client pays the bills and the client gets to make the final say.
Yeah. Very good, very good. Well, in this changing economy we live in, this changing environment, what sort of advice would you give to your profession? I mean, how do they need to change and flex and go with the time?
Well, that's a good question. As you no doubt know or are aware, we have a lot of economic changes coming down the pike and political changes as well. I think the profession's in for some changes. I think I remain very optimistic about this future of ours, and I think we'll weather it well. But we'll probably see more scrutiny of the project, both in terms of dollars and in terms of results. I think we'll have tighter construction budgets and more emphasis on operating costs and other life cycle costs.
And the green initiatives have to play a role in that too, don't they? The new energy conservation side.
Absolutely, yes, very, very much so. And I expect to be doing some creative work in energy conservation, both in design and in planning. The more fundamentally that you work on the issue of energy conservation, the more you accomplish with the least expenditure. So you get the most bang for your buck. And this is true of value engineering in general. But yeah, I think the future bodes well. These are challenges that will be serious for firms and for clients, but the firms I expect to associate with, I think, will be kind of leading the charge, so to speak. And we'll see a new vocabulary in architecture with a lot of change evolving out of that, just as we did 100 years ago.
Well, Well, I'm sure any firm would be fortunate to share your expertise.
Look forward to working with them. That's what I do, and it's a real pleasure to do it.
Well, Cliff, I appreciate your time.
Well, thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks a lot.